You're listening to the Tao of Indifference, sex, dating, and relationship advice for an indifferent world. For more advice and tips, check out taoofindifference.com or follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D.
Hello listeners, this is D, and welcome to episode 4. Today's topic is sex tips. I've got 5 of them for you, and they're just in time for spring. I'll also be answering some dating and sex questions, and also going over some sex and dating in the news. First, let's get into some questions. Alright, today's first question. I'm having a hard time getting women to reply on dating websites. If they do, they simply are not interested. I've been on Match.com and it's the pits. What are the best ones to be on? Okay, in my personal opinion, I would highly recommend OkCupid because it's free, for one, and most people sort of think that because it's free, it's maybe not as good as a Match.com or an eHarmony, and I think that actually is not the case. In my experience, the free sites generally have a premium membership, and I previously was a premium member or A-list member for OkCupid, and the search tools with that premium membership were really cool, and sort of helped me find my current girlfriend, so that's kind of cool. But the reason why OkCupid is great is because it has a very casual vibe about it. Everyone's on OkCupid, and people talk about OkCupid, and Match has a very serious atmosphere, and eHarmony as well. So the key there is just sort of appearing to be flexible. You would think that being on a site where everyone's very serious about dating, you'd find more people who want to date you, but in my experience, and most of the people's experience that I come across, Match.com really has this sort of weight to it, and if you're on Match.com, you want to get married. And OkCupid is a little more light. It's as close as you can get in online dating to going into a bar to meet someone new. Whereas a site like Tinder, or an app like Tinder, is like going to a bar to get laid. I don't know if that's the same. And Match.com would be going to a singles event specifically organized to meet someone. And it's very rigid, and it's not as loose as an OkCupid. Now, of course, I'm assuming that you want women to reply to you and go on dates and less about the hookup, so OkCupid might be the site for you. I hope that's helpful. Alright, next question. I started a new job and there is someone there who I'm interested in. Although I really don't know a lot about her, I would really like to ask her out. I'm going to be working with her in a couple of weekends, which will only be our third shift on together. Should I wait and do a few more shifts with her before I ask her out? And will it seem creepy or too forward to ask her out for coffee when we next work together? Okay, let me just start right away and say, I'm not sure what kind of job you have. I'm assuming it's sort of an hourly sort of job. Maybe it's a service industry kind of job. You might want to check your company's website and see what the HR policies are. That would be my first bet. Maybe your company specifically has weird policies about you fraternizing with a coworker. Who knows? Do that first. Most likely you can probably date your people who you work with. I'm assuming this is your peer and not your boss, or vice versa. Next, you really just want to ask yourself, how awkward will it be, and how will I respond if she says no? If you're someone like me, you probably can take rejection fairly well. You ask someone out for a cup of coffee after work, they say no, cool, move on. No big deal. If you're the type to hold a grudge or complain about being put in the friend zone, don't ask your coworker out at all. Just don't even do it. If you do decide to ask her out, and you are someone who can handle a rejection and still act in a professional manner after a rejection, by all means ask her out. But do so in a way that sort of leaves room to save face. Asking out for coffee is a great idea because, coffee dates suck, but they at least are not inherently romantic. Asking someone out to a show, a movie, a dinner, is definitely all about a romantic gesture. You can ask someone out to a drink after work, or coffee. If you don't drink, you want to get coffee, fine. But something very informal that doesn't require planning, a special outfit, anything like that. So that way, even if she rejects you, or she does go out, but she really just wants to be friends, you're not stuck in this very romantic atmosphere. So, hope that helps. Alright. How do I stop picking the wrong guy? How do I stop always picking the wrong guy? Since I was divorced 8 years ago, it seems the few men I have been involved with are losers. I have been currently trying online dating, but that just seems like I'm attracted to the same guys. All the responses I do get, the chat quickly turns to sex. What do I do? Okay, let me just say this. Most guys want to talk about sex. A lot of guys on online dating sites are there specifically to try to get sex. Not all, some are, and a large majority are, but that's just how most men operate. Most men are driven to try to have sex as often as possible. So how do you stop picking the wrong guy? Well, first, you're not really picking the people who message you. You are responding to these people. So it's not really a choice so much. Unless you're actually actively searching for men and messaging them, which most women do not do on online dating sites, you're probably just responding to who is attracted to you. And you can't change who's attracted to you. There might be some nice guys in there, and they might just be boring, and they send a terrible message and you don't respond. Generally, the guys who are more aggressive and sort of single-minded in their pursuit of sex are better at messaging people just because they do it more often. If you're a guy who spends an hour every day messaging women, you message 100 women a day, you're probably really good at going through and like starting conversations, but maybe not maintaining long stretches of conversation where you suddenly everything turns to sex. And what you can do is actively start searching for guys. Read their profile. This guy sounds cool. I'll message him. You will get rejected. It happens. You might get rejected at a very high rate. I'm not sure what your preferences are, but the only way to really stop picking the wrong guy is to actively search for the right guy. So if you are a girl who can't, if you're a woman who can't find a decent guy, you really got to put yourself out there. If you really are getting that much negative attention, go seek positive attention and don't wait for it to come to you. Be a little more proactive, because those guys who are messaging you about sex are very proactive, and you might not be interested, but somebody will be. So on the other hand, if you are also proactive, maybe 9 of the 10 guys who seem nice won't respond. One of them will. So the way to pick the right guy is to go search for him. All right. Last question. Nope, that's it. We're done with questions. All right. So now I just want to go over some really cool, interesting sex news that I've come across on the internet. All right. So, lifehacker.org, .com, which I'm a huge fan of, recently published an article about how to meet more people with better dating profile pictures. I've given a few tips here and there. I'm just going to go over them quickly because these are not my tips. But they are very good tips. So, let's do it. You should have a picture of you being active or doing something you love. Apparently, OkCupid's research shows that those pictures are very successful. You should have a picture with you not alone. You with your family. It apparently works really well for men because you look like a good guy, which, going back to my last thing, you with your pets, a full body shot, any pictures that are flattering, genuine, and accurate and recent. You've probably heard those tips a lot, but it's always good to reinforce there. All right. I also came across this, which is incredible. So a study found that MySpace, which still exists, is the top-ranked site for sex workers. Seriously. Who would have thought? Good job, Justin. So apparently it's better than Craigslist, adultchurch.com, and Adam for Adam, which I'm assuming is a male for male sex worker site. And Backpages. That's incredible. They published a comprehensive study. It's about 340 pages long, and I will be linking to it, and it is a very interesting read. I did not read all of it. Don't worry, you don't have to either. All right. So that's it for sex and dating in the news. Now let's get into 5 random sex tips, just in time for spring. Alright, before I get into sex tips, and I will tell you this every single time that I'm talking about sex, consent is not optional. You should always have consent. If someone's too drunk to give you consent, then you don't have consent. Man, Game of Thrones. Number 2, always use protection unless you are specifically trying to create a child, which will lead into one of my tips. So, 5 sex tips. Let's get it started. So, my first tip is please, for the love of public health and safety, receive comprehensive STD testing at least twice a year. I cannot stress that enough. You need to be tested if you are sexually active. You should receive a full range of tests, not just the HIV testing. You should also be tested for any STD or STI that you could possibly have. Please do that. A study was, well, not a full study, it's data from a bunch of studies, but essentially I'll quote it for you. Quote, less than half of adults age 18 to 44 have ever been tested for an STD, STI other than HIV/AIDS. That's crazy. Most of those things are curable. Go get tested. And if you got something, treat it. And if you got something that can't be treated, tell your partners. Seriously, people. Not kidding. Alright. Second one. I promise I will no longer talk about STIs. If you are about to do anything sexual in any way, and you have showered more than 8 hours ago, please check yourself. Seriously. Dudes, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Your balls probably smell like right now. If you are somewhere where you can shower, please just pop in the shower. Do everyone a favor. You would not want to go down on someone who smells bad, and vice versa. Seriously, wash your balls. Alright. Third tip. You should know what you want and then communicate it to your partner. You should not be ashamed of what you're into, just because people tend to call it weird. I'm not sure what you're into. I don't know you personally, but don't feel bad about what you're into as long as it's not illegal or hurting someone, unless they're into that, or just morally wrong, you know? As long as you're not injuring anyone in any way or doing something incredibly illegal and wrong, don't feel bad about what you're into. There will be people who aren't into what you're into, and that's okay. People don't have to like the same things as you, but don't feel bad about it. And if you're with a partner, share what you're into, and if they're not into that, they probably aren't the right person for you to begin with. If you're feeling weird or awkward about how do I bring up what I'm into and what I'm not, there's this great tool that I'm going to post up called a yes, no, or maybe list. What you want to do with that is fill them out separately with a partner and just have a list of things a list of sex acts or positions, and then put yes, no, or maybe. You can also add comments, but that way you can avoid a weird conversation. So if you're into hickeys, yes. People who have sex with the lights on, no. Just fill it out, have your partner fill it out, match them up, see what you guys come up with. Alright, number 4. Never fake your enjoyment. At all. You might think that because someone is having sex with you, that you owe them something, but you don't, and that's silly. Don't ever think that. Sex is a partnership, whether that is a very limited partnership or a long-term partnership. You guys are in it together, even if it's just you by yourself. And so by faking, you're sort of lying about your enjoyment, and no one's going to get better at what they're doing if you're just lying to them. And I'm not just speaking to ladies here, though I'm mostly speaking to women. But apparently 25% of guys surveyed in a survey said that they have also faked it, whether they were just too drunk or just felt bad. Point is that you shouldn't be faking it. If you're not feeling it, just speak up, which goes back to talking about what you want. All right, last sex tip. Don't have sex when you're not feeling it. You and I know that I'm all about indifference, but what I'm not indifferent about is sex. If you don't enjoy sex, you're asexual, you're just not into it, it's not for you, that's cool. If you do enjoy sex, why would you have sex if you're not enjoying it at all? And when I say enjoying it, you could just not be in a mood, you could be depressed, you could have a body issue, a body image issue, a confidence issue. You're not enjoying the sex you're having with that person, you're not enjoying sleeping with this person, whatever it is, you should probably figure out what that issue is, because it might be a bigger deal than just, I don't want to have sex today. If it is just that, that's fine. Don't have sex. Wait. You really should not be having sex just to have sex, you know. Don't have sex for the sake of sex. You should have sex to enjoy it if you enjoy it. And that's it. Everyone, I hope you're enjoying your spring and the weather. It was 70 degrees today here in New York, and it was incredible. And I hope wherever you are, it is beautiful. Be safe, be smart, and enjoy yourselves. Good luck out there. Bye.